The greatest secrets are rarely destroyed. They are simply forgotten, concealed beneath symbols, or hidden in plain sight, until only a handful of people remember what they truly mean. For thousands of years, two traditions have spoken about the awakening of human consciousness: Taoist Internal Alchemy and Kundalini Yoga. Most people assume they are describing the same process under different names. They are not. They share remarkable parallels, but there is one profound distinction that changes everything, and it is a distinction that has been largely overlooked in modern spirituality. Taoist Internal Alchemy teaches that the body is not something to escape. It is the very laboratory of spiritual transformation. Kundalini, by contrast, is often presented as the awakening of a spiritual force that ascends beyond ordinary physical consciousness. Its emphasis is on rising through the chakras toward liberation and union with the Absolute. Both paths seek awakening, but one begins by perfecting the vessel, while the other is primarily concerned with awakening the consciousness that inhabits it. That difference is far more significant than most people realize. In Taoist Internal Alchemy, the journey always begins in the lower dantian, the energetic center below the navel. This is not simply another energy point. It is the furnace where transformation begins. Here, your vital essence, or Jing, is gathered, refined, and gradually converted into higher forms of energy. Nothing is rushed. Nothing is forced. Before consciousness can expand, the body itself must become capable of supporting that expansion. This is one of the great principles of Taoist cultivation. The body is not an obstacle to enlightenment. The body is the path. Modern spirituality often encourages people to chase extraordinary experiences, visions, bliss, or altered states. The Taoist masters approached the problem differently. They understood that genuine spiritual development requires a strong energetic foundation. Without one, higher states become unstable, temporary, or even destructive. The lower dantian is that foundation. It is the engine that powers the entire alchemical process. As the energy matures, it is circulated throughout the body, nourishing the organs, strengthening the nervous system, and gradually opening the higher energetic centers. Spirit is not separated from matter. Matter is transformed until it reveals spirit. This is the genius of Taoist Internal Alchemy. Now compare this with Kundalini. Kundalini traditions describe a dormant spiritual force resting at the base of the spine. When awakened, this energy ascends through the chakras toward the crown of the head, culminating in expanded consciousness and liberation. There are obvious similarities. Both systems describe an evolutionary force within the human being. Both recognize ascending stages of development. Both ultimately point towards self-realization. Yet their orientation is fundamentally different. In many Kundalini traditions, the emphasis falls upon the ascent itself, the movement upward, the transcendence of ordinary consciousness, the awakening beyond identification with the physical body. In Taoist Internal Alchemy, ascending energy is only half of the process. The energy must also remain rooted. It must continue circulating. It must nourish the body even as consciousness expands. The body is never abandoned. It is continually refined. This is why Taoist texts speak not only of spiritual awakening, but of longevity, vitality, balance, and the cultivation of what later became known as the immortal embryo. The spiritual body is not created by rejecting the physical body. It is born through its refinement. The dantians and the chakras illustrate this distinction perfectly. The chakra system maps the ascent of consciousness through 7 major centers, from the root to the crown. The Taoist system speaks primarily of 3 dantians. The lower dantian stores and generates life force. The middle dantian refines emotional and spiritual energy. The upper dantian awakens higher perception and wisdom. But unlike the popular image of energy simply rising upward, the Taoist model emphasizes continuous circulation. Energy rises, energy descends, and heaven and earth are united within the human being. Nothing is discarded. Everything is integrated. Perhaps this explains why many Taoist masters spent as much time cultivating health as they did cultivating enlightenment. To them, these were never separate pursuits. A weakened body cannot sustain higher consciousness indefinitely, and a scattered mind cannot refine energy effectively. One supports the other. This understanding has become surprisingly rare. Today, countless people search for awakening while neglecting the very vessel through which awakening must unfold. The ancient Taoists would have considered this backwards. First, establish the foundation, then allow consciousness to blossom naturally. None of this diminishes the profound insights found within Kundalini traditions. Both systems point toward the same mountain. Both recognize that human beings possess untapped potential beyond ordinary awareness. Both insist that transformation is real. Yet the routes they take reveal two very different philosophies. One seeks liberation by awakening consciousness beyond its ordinary limitations. The other transforms the human being from the inside out until body, energy, and spirit become a single unified reality. Perhaps this is why the old masters guarded these teachings so carefully. Not because they wished to deny humanity the truth, but because genuine power has always demanded responsibility, discipline, and direct experience. These teachings were never intended to remain hidden forever. They were intended to be discovered by those willing to look beyond appearances. And perhaps that is exactly what you are beginning to do now.